Hey everyone, in this we are going to make this video using Fusion animation. So without further ado, let's get started. So open the supply file, and so this is the file that we have created in the previous parts. So this is the bonus part in which we are doing the animation. So if you want to do the modeling and the assembly, please watch the playlist that is linked. So now I'm going to switch to animation from design. And here if you observe, the user interface is a little bit different. So currently we are going to see how you can set these things to get the desired animation. So we have options storyboard in the beginning. So these are the two storyboards that are already existing in the design. And you have transform, move, and show or hide. And here we have view and publish, and we have the browser to expand. So all the components are we got. But if you expand any component, there are things, but the issue is we did not got the bodies expanded. So here you will be able to animate only the components. You cannot select bodies. So just show all the components. Okay. So currently we are in the middle of animation, that's why you are unable to see the components. Fine, this is about the browser, and here we have the animation timeline. So you see these 1, 2, 3, these are seconds of your animation. For 1 second, 24 frames. So currently you don't have option to increase those frames. So what we will do is we will slow the animation. Then if you want to speed up the animation in the post processing, we can do that. Then your animation will be smooth. Fine, we'll explore all these later, and let's get started with storyboard creation. And you can create new storyboard using this plus icon, or you can click on this option to create a new storyboard. And here in the dialog box you can create clean, or you can start from the previous. Currently I'm going to create it from the clean. So now all my storyboard is empty, and I got a new storyboard here, storyboard 9. Fine. So animation is here is very simple. So this is our timeline head, and place it wherever you want. Until that, whatever the action you take, it will be recorded. So if you see this animation, there are mainly two things happening. So one is the translation of the parts or components, and the other thing is camera movement. Okay, the first thing is the movement of these components, and the second thing is camera animation. So coming back to our storyboard, here we have our all components. Make sure you see all the components. And so I just kept my timeline head at 2 seconds. I'm going to use move option. So if I select the bearing, if I translate it, see here I was able to move it, but I'm getting only the outer race. See, these balls and inner race are staying in place. So this is because these are subcomponents of this main bearing. So I would like to cancel it, and again repeat the transform component and select this main component now. Now if you try to move it, so entire bearing moves. This is how you can make the translations. So this movement, let me make this bearing move about, let's say 300 mm. You can enter the input here, and say OK. So I thought that the bearing will go out of the screen. So now I want the bearing to go out of the screen, but it's not out of the screen. So I would like to edit this motion. Right click on this motion here that is recorded, edit action, and here we got the edit action again. So let the distance be 400 at this time. Now it is out of the screen and you can say OK. So if you observe here, we got that action recorded and we got the green color symbol saying that the animation is recorded up to 2 seconds, and we got the component name here also. This is how you can do the translation and record the moment. And let's do the same for this component, that is the second bearing. And select the transform components. And here we got these translations. You have, if you want to rotate it, you can use these handles to rotate it. But for now, we are only going to do the translation. So let this distance be 700 mm. In this case, negative 700. Say OK. Now these two are recorded. Now I want to translate the piston assembly. So to remove the piston, we follow the sequence. So we remove first the circlips. Okay, but before that, if I make any zoom action, so the zoom is getting recorded. Okay, but for now I just want to focus only on the translation. So if you move the arrowhead, see the bearings are moving and even the zoom is recorded. I don't want the zoom or any camera movement to record for now. So for that you can enable this option so that the view won't be recorded. Okay, so now the view is not recording. If you make any changes, if you zoom in or zoom out, nothing is getting recorded, only the translation is happening. So home view again, and at 4 seconds I want the circlips to be removed. I'm going to select the circlip. So if you are unable to select the circlip, you can select the circlip using the browser. Select the circlip and translate it about 400. So 400 is also not enough. Let's say 500. Okay. Now if you observe, these two actions are up to 2 seconds, but this action is more than 2 seconds. So this is because overlapping action. See, even though we kept our arrow at 4 seconds, so we got this more action time for this moment. That is because in the settings we have 3 times. This is currently it is set to overlapping, which means that whatever the action you do, it overlaps with the previous option about 0.5 seconds. And if you select this first option, it starts from 0, which means this action will start from beginning. And here we have sequential, which means this action will start from end of the previous action. Okay, so now I want to adjust this action. So you can adjust that just by dragging this. Even you can place these action anywhere in the timeline. So all these options are available to you. Fine. So I want this to be like about 3.5 mm. And again I would like to repeat that for the other circlip. Select the other circlip, move and move it about minus 300 mm and say OK. Now let's remove the gudgeon pin and let's give distance about 5.5 because, or 5 we will give, because it will start from 3. So the animation is going to start from the 3 seconds. So I want the animation to be about 2 seconds because we have given overlap there. Now translate, select the gudgeon pin and translate in this direction about 400 again, enter. See, we got this for 2 seconds, from 3 seconds to 5 seconds. So now let's do one more for the piston 6.5 because it is going to start from 4.5. Select the piston, transform component and move it about 300 mm. Say OK. Now if you see, our action is recorded but is not visible. If you scroll down, the action is there. So as your components increase, so they are formed sequentially, having overlap. So to see those, you have to use the scroll bar. Fine, let's place it at 8th second and let's remove the bush, transform, and let this be 350. And again 9.5. Let's remove the connecting rod components. First we'll remove the bolts. So bolts are in the same direction because these have to be removed vertically. So I'm going to select both the bolts. So if you are having difficulty in selection, you can zoom in to pick that, or if you hold your left mouse button, will give you the options. So here we have multiple options. Let's select the bolt. Again here pick the bolt, hold Ctrl to retain both the selections. Transform components, move it in the Z direction about minus 250 mm, and those two recorded. And again at 11 I want this connecting rod to move top. Let the distance be 400 mm. Say OK. Repeat the same for the smaller end. Select the smaller end and move it about minus 250 mm. And fine, we are done with the connecting rod. These two also we will remove, that is connecting rod bearings. So let's place it at 1250. Select the connecting rod bearing and move it about 200 mm, and again repeat the same for the other bearing, move it about 200 mm. Fine, so we are done with moving all the components. Let's play the animation and see how it's. Fine, I think the animation is good. If you zoom out, you will get a little more clarity. You can drag this arrowhead to see the proper sequence of your components. Just so far looking good. I think we are done with disassembling all the components. So let's give the camera animation now. So if I enable the view, so wherever it was in the beginning, it came to that. And let's rotate it just like this. I have selected the corner of my cube and the camera got rotated. If you want to see the animation, you can use the arrowhead to see the camera animation. Okay, but the time is very small, so it is rotating very fast. I want this time to be increased from the beginning. So I want the camera animation to start from the beginning and slowly it should rotate. Yes, fine. So if you play your animation, see here the bearing is getting rotated, but it is staying on the screen. Even though we have input the line, but it is still staying on the screen. So what we can do is similarly for all other components. So what we can do is we can hide them, or we can increase the length so that it gets out of the screen. So there are two options. So you can either right click, edit action and move it out of the screen, let's say 500 mm or 600 mm, then it is out of the screen, or you can hide it. So let's say I have selected this component and I'm going to hide it. Now that component, it won't be visible. Okay, similarly for this one, let's hide it. You are unable to see that hiding because it is getting out of the screen and it is getting hidden. Let's try for this circlip. Okay, this is our circlip, and here if you see, it is a little more than the his brother. Okay, it is having more length, so I just adjusted it, and if you see, it is staying here itself. So I want this to hide. So I have selected the component and hide it. Now if you move your head, see the component is getting hidden after this point. So this is how you have to set. So select similarly other components also, hide. I'm selecting this component and place your cursor carefully. If you place your cursor here and if you select the show or hide, that feature will be reported at that point. So that's why you just carefully put your point and capture the hide or show. So if you can move this action also. So even you can delete it, right click and delete it. So all these options are available to you. So again, so if I repeat it, see, for the same component, for this piston pin, I have hidden it, and if you see, it is hidden, and again I have shown it. See, so from this point it is getting shown. So I would like to delete it. So this is piston and I would like to hide it again, and this is bearing bush. Repeat the hide, and if you want to select multiple, hold control and select two components and select the hide. So this is how you can do it. Again, similarly repeat it again. So these two are already selected again. So press escape to get rid of the selection, and again carefully select the components, hide it. So if you are not feeling comfortable with this area, and you can increase the area also just by doing like this. So you will get more area to make these adjustments. Let's hide these two also. See, these two got a wrong location, so I would like to just move it. If you are facing any difficulty when selecting any option, you can zoom in the timeline also using this option. So now you have more control over the selection. So this option will zoom in your timeline. After you're done, you just can reduce your animation timeline. So if you play your animation, so you got the component translation and camera movement. So both these are recorded properly. Now I want to set up the assembly. So this is a disassembly of the components. If I want to set the assembly, I don't have to do it from the scratch. So I would like to copy this, right click and paste. So now I pasted the same timeline. I will right click and select reverse. Then all the sequences that you did got reversed, and if you play it, so the assembly will happen. So these two animations you can export it. Okay, we'll see that in a moment. I would like to delete these. Right click, delete. These are the existing previous ones. Yes, now these are the animations that we did. If you can right click and rename them also. Let's say this assembly, and this is our assembly. Fine. And here finally we have publish video. P is the shortcut for that, and here you have the option to export current storyboard, whatever the current storyboard that is selected, or all storyboards. If you select all storyboards, whatever the storyboards that are there will be exported, and you can change the document size, your video size. So by default it has selected 1920 630. If you want 1920 by 1080, you can pick that. or if you want to give any custom dimension also you can give. Let's select 1920 by 1080 and say OK. You can choose the location where the animation you want to save. Even you can save it to the cloud, which will be saved in your data panel. I would like to deselect that, and automatically I code saving to the computer. So just edit the location where you want to save, choose the location and hit save. So it will take a few moments based on your resolution, based on your sequences, based on the components available, and based on all these it will export the video. Yes, the video is exported. Let's see that. So if you see your animation, so we got disassembly of all the components, and if you see it, the frame rate is very low, that is 24 fps. That's why you're feeling a little bit lag. Since we made the animation slow, we can speed it up. Let's say if you speed it up 2 times, so now it feels smooth. So the more the animation time you create, the faster you can input and more smooth your animation will be. So even though you get like 24 fps, you can increase your animation time. Let's say currently we exported about 26 seconds. So let's say if it is 50 seconds, when you play directly it will be very slow, but when you speed it up it will be like smooth. So that is recommended. So this is all for this video. I hope you got basics about the animations. So there are more tools available in this. There are even you can extend that hidden view. So there are more tools available. We will explore all those in the upcoming videos. Since you have watched up to the end, consider liking and subscribing. At any point in time, if you get any questions, please comment them. I'll respond to those. And follow our Instagram channel as we post daily quizzes and fusion updates. Thank you so much. Stay tuned.